Unsightly Opinions. If you're new, my name's Tamara, and today we're going to be addressing the whole Twitter, Twitch, Reddit drama that is the removal of the blind playthrough tag. You're probably wondering what I'm doing on a non-Wednesday or Friday posting a video, but I think it's important that I, as a blind person, weigh in on this controversy and drama. First, know that I am not a drama channel. I have no intention of becoming a drama channel, but when I feel that something needs to be said, I want to share it with you. I want to share my experiences. I want to grow with you. I want to understand things, and I am not perfect. So if you have an opinion, whether you agree with me or not, I welcome it. Let's go through the drama and then I will share my opinions. This all started on December 4th when a person responsible for community and marketing for Twitch on their personal account ended up posting, and I am paraphrasing very slightly here because I have had to memorize this. They said that they were happy to see that Twitch has listened to everyone who raised comments and concerns and has removed the blind playthrough tag to encourage more inclusive language for the community. Then I saw somebody who is a relatively well-known disabled gamer who also works with a disabled gaming organization tweet, again I am paraphrasing very slightly here, that they were happy to see Twitch follow through on promises to address concerns raised by the disability community. This is just the beginning. I don't know where the initial comment came to remove the blind playthrough tag, but needless to say, after these tweets went live, the blind playthrough tag was removed from Twitch and is no longer a tag that can be used. It was suggested that one should use first playthrough or no spoilers for the same sentiment. I have thoughts. What I noticed in the backlash that came out from this was there were a lot of very confused Twitch streamers, myself included, wondering why the tag had been removed in the first place. Now, I believe that there is a large problem in mainstream society in terms of ableist language and using terms that are inherently offensive and inherently demeaning to people with disabilities. Do I think the blind playthrough tag was one of them? Absolutely not. I am a blind Twitch streamer. I use the platform regularly, and I have been streaming on Twitch for more than 6 months. I chose to use the blind playthrough tag almost every time I played a game on Twitch, whether I had knowledge of the game or not. Now, I like the blind playthrough tag because I thought it was just a little bit cheeky that I, as a blind gamer, went around and used that tag as my own. Did I ever feel offended that somebody who was sighted could use the tag as well? No! There are many examples of sight and blindness-related metaphors and sayings used in the English language, and they are generally not offensive unless they are said in a derogatory way. In fact, it makes me a little bit uncomfortable when people around me try to avoid words like look and see because they are so intrinsic to the English language. I watch TV just like you, even though I don't necessarily use my eyes to do it. I read books. Even though I don't use my eyes to do it, I may use my hands using Braille, or I may listen to audio versions. I still get the information that you get, even though it's a different way. And using the same terminology and trying not to modify language to an extent that it becomes difficult to know what can and cannot be said, I think is counterintuitive and counterproductive. There are many issues that I think are fundamentally far more important than removing a tag like this that need to be addressed in terms of having accessible cut curves, having elevators, having ramps, having braille labels, having large print signage available, having audio guides, having descriptive video. There are a lot of things that I would address before even thinking about addressing a blind playthrough tag. What I think is far more important is addressing the inherent flaws with accessibility when it comes to Twitch. Using Twitch with a screen reader can be cumbersome at best. I think that if they are trying to champion inclusive and disability inclusive language, they should be more focused on making sure their platform works as a whole for anyone who wants to use the platform, rather than focusing on minuscule details. There are bigger issues in just about every aspect of the gaming community that need to be dealt with before you deal with a tag that was not offending me and not offending the people that I talked to about this tag who were in the blindness community, who were in the blindness subreddit, or the people in my life who I know who are blind or visually impaired who also feel that the removal of this tag is just ridiculous. as I was going through all of the Twitter responses and all of the subreddits and all of the comments that people were leaving relating to the ridiculousness of the removal of this tag, I noticed a couple of different things. First, I noticed that people did not know many disabled gamers. They maybe knew of one or two, particularly a blind gamer who plays Mortal Kombat. And while I think it's fantastic that there is somebody in the disabled gaming community who has made it into mainstream knowledge in terms of gaming, there is a massive community of disabled gamers that absolutely nobody knows anything about. What I see as a possible solution is actually including a new tag, possibly a disabled gamers tag or a modified gaming tag, or something that would draw people's attention to the disabled gaming community, where people can discover disabled or modified gaming, where we can encourage others in the disability community to look at what other disabled gamers are doing and how they've modified their games to make it work for them. Or maybe encouraging people outside the disability community to see how disabled gamers are playing, and maybe encourage modification and change the gaming industry so that it has more accessibility features so we can include a wider variety of players. Now, speaking on the blind playthrough tag individually, let's talk about problematic language for a minute. There are many times when you can use language in a derogatory and inherently offensive way. You could say to somebody, "Hey, are you blind?" And then that's obviously inherently offensive. There is an inherent derogatory tone associated with that statement. You could call somebody, and I am using these words strictly for educational purposes here, crippled, retarded, and those words are inherently bad, and most people understand why because of the social connotation associated with those words. But when you use a term like blind playthrough and you actually look at the definition of the word blind, I think it's important to note that there are two very distinct definitions associated with the word. The first one being that blindness means someone who does not have sight, someone does not have vision. The second one means someone who is lacking knowledge. Both of these are valid within the English language and have been used for centuries. I think context is what's necessary to understand the terminology. Now, do I think that sometimes people conflate the two together and use them in a derogatory way? Yes, but if you can use your contextual clues, you can see that blind playthrough is not an offensive tag. I use the blind playthrough tag absolutely every time I gamed because I thought it was kind of funny that there are two interpretations of the word blind. Now that I've told you that I think the situation was blown out of proportion, that people got very passionate on both sides, I do want to leave you with some final thoughts. Is this the pyre I'm willing to die on? No. Do I think the blind playthrough tag was offensive? No. Do I think the people that I spoke to felt that it was offensive? Again, no. Am I upset that it's gone? It doesn't really make a difference to me. Did I see the blind playthrough tag as an immediate problem that needed to be fixed? No. Do I think that there is a better descriptor? Do I think that first playthrough is a better descriptor for the first time someone is playing a game? Absolutely. But I also feel that this is not necessarily where Twitch should be putting its efforts. That being said, if Twitch is truly committed to accessibility and inclusivity on its platform, there are much bigger issues that they need to be addressing first. They need to be addressing the accessibility issues with screen readers. They need to be addressing other accessibility issues that are keeping people from enjoying the platform to its fullest extent. Further, is ableist language inherently a problem in the disability community, and can it isolate people and make people feel discluded from a community? Absolutely yes. Language evolves, language should evolve, and using inclusive language is absolutely a necessity. Using terms like blind or gay is not bad, but you need to use them in an inclusive way that lets everybody feel like they are welcome in a space. So while I don't feel offended by what was done, and I don't feel offended by the removal of the tag or the inclusion of the tag, somebody else might be. So it is perfectly valid that they removed it, and this whole thing has just been my take on the situation and my opinion. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye for now.